Hi, welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen and this is my Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. Today and tomorrow we are expecting rain, so for the day I'm moving inside, and frankly I have a lot of work to get done that I've been putting off, so let's get started. I spent the last several days at my sister's house in Houston and got a few cuttings of purple sky flower. This is American Beautyberry, which I'm going to do cuttings of here in a second. This is Crocosmia, which is absolutely stunning. I'll put a photo in the corner for this as well. But obviously planting these is going to have to wait until we get a day that is not so wet. On top of the wonderful cuttings and bulbs I got from my sister, I got coneflower seeds. I literally went around making cuttings and taking seeds. And I got Albutilon, you know what? I'm saying it wrong. I think it's Albutilon. I'll put the name up here. They were at Chinese lantern. Absolutely gorgeous. She had two different colors, one that was kind of in a honey yellow and one that was almost like in a peachy, antique-y, peachy look. Absolutely stunning. Anyway, so they will get added. So these two, the seeds, I'm going to start in the 12 cell containers. So I'm going to save those for last today, and I'm going to start on the cuttings. I am going to go ahead and pre-fill the containers for the cuttings. Now, just visually gauging, I'm thinking I'm going to need 4 for the 4 for the American Beautyberry, and I think I'm only going to get 3 out of the purple sky flower. So anyway, I'm just going to pre-fill. Anytime you do cuttings like this, you have to make sure that the cuttings, because once they're cut, they just look like sticks, are oriented so that what was the top part of that branch is facing up out of the soil, and the bottom part of the branch that actually attached towards the base or wherever you cut it off of the center of the plant is the part that's in the soil. And the way I do that, and I'm just going to review it again, I also have another video with Texas Sage and my Rose of Sharon's, which I do the same way. But I cut the point that's going into the soil at an angle. Oh, goodness. Well, the small clippers weren't going to cut it, so I went and got my ergonomic, heavier duty clippers. But anyway, so at the base, I'm going to cut it at a point so that when I cut the stick straight across, there's no question that point is the part that goes in the soil. Don't trust yourself to, oh yeah, well these are up at a slight angle. Trust me. Do an angle for what you want to go in the soil, flat for the top, or I mean something that makes it different where there is no question in your mind that that is the side that's going to go in the soil. So let me just get these cut. So I have 5 cuttings of the American Beautyberry. 2 of them are pretty skinny, so I'm going to put those in one pot and the other 3 in their own pot. So now on to the purple sky flower, and I'll put a picture here. So gorgeous. Taking the leaves off. And where is that first? You want to get the first where the leaves come out. That is the point where once you take the leaves off, that's the point where the roots are able to grow out. So it doesn't have to be on the bottom. You don't have to cut it upright next to it. I just like to cut closer just because, you know, it's a little less to rot in the pot when it's trying to grow new leaves. But anyway, let me go ahead and let me move the Beautyberry over here, and I'll do these. So we have plenty of purple sky flower, and we have plenty of the American Beauty Berry. Instead of using the rooting hormone, I've gotten into the habit lately, and I actually did an experiment, and a few of them are on my earlier videos, where I used aloe, a clipping from my aloe plant, instead of the rooting hormone, and it actually produced better results for me. So I'm going to stick with what I know works. And just dip them in the aloe leaf and put them in soil. It's pretty self-explanatory. Aloe. One of the tips I used from doing the propagating of the Texas sage, Texas sage, was putting plastic wrap around the top. Apparently, it's supposed to keep it from drying out quicker, which helps it grow roots fast. I don't know. Anyway, the fact is, the ones that I did the plastic wrap on top of the Texas sage grew leaves much faster than the others, and we're talking just a week and a half, folks. So this should have been done, and then the aloe, and then put it in the soil. So I'm definitely out of order here, but I'm going to be taking these out. I'm just going to wrap a little piece of plastic wrap around the top and put them right back in again. One of the things I did not like using this plastic wrap, one of my complaints immediately was it doesn't seem to stay wound very well at all. But the results did not change. The ones that had the plastic wrap grew leaves faster than the ones that did not. And again, it's only been a week and a half. I'm sure the cuttings will be just fine. But so this will go in a shady location. I'm going to put it with my Texas sage cuttings, and it must be kept moist. For these roots to develop, you cannot let this soil dry out at all until those roots get very well established, or at least a fabulous start. And then you can back off to a more reasonable watering schedule. And folks, I don't know about you, but I'm growing so many things at the same time. Even when I'm growing a few things, can't tell you how many times I've gone back and gone, wait a second, is that this or this? And until you have leaves and flowers, it's just almost impossible to tell unless it's something very obvious. But anyway, so I'm going to keep these separated. So the purple sky flowers will be on one side and the beauty berries will be on the other. Here they are on the porch in the shade, well watered, and they'll stay here for quite a while. But what I brought you over for, and I put the sky flower on one side and the beauty berry on the other. But what I wanted to show you was these are just the Texas sage that I started, folks, I want to say a week and a half ago. Look at the leaves. I'm going to take these off now. Well, that wasn't smart. I'm going to leave it. I just pulled that one out. So I'm hoping I didn't mess up the roots. But if you look back there, that one did not have the plastic wrap, and there are no leaves. This one, which also did not have the plastic wrap, actually is growing leaves, but not as many as the ones that it did cover. So I think I'm going to add that to my future cuttings activities, is this little plastic wrap. But I have to tell you folks that 2-inch roll of the plastic really doesn't hold very well. I'm almost thinking if I rip off little pieces of like standard cling wrap, it would probably hang on to the tops of those a lot better. I don't know. Here, everything's going to live right here, at least for the next few months. Texas sage, yeah, I'm probably going to plant. You know what, folks? I'll decide as I go along how many do I end up with that grow. And frankly, some I'm getting so many this Texas sage, I'm getting such wonderful results. I actually may end up giving away a few of those to some neighbors. Anyway, this is where we are with the cuttings so far. And just to give you an update, for 1 week later, I already have leaves growing on the purple skyflower cuttings. How cool is that? I took off the plastic. Plastic was actually covering some of the leaves that were growing up near the top. So since it was already growing leaves, I assume that it's good to remove that. The Texas sage continues to grow, at least the 4 that I had covered in the front here with the plastic. The back 2 did not have the plastic. The one in the upper left-hand corner is growing some leaves, but it's clearly not as far along as the other 4. So definitely the plastic wrap is in my cutting repertoire now. Now, as far as these 4 over here, the beautyberry, nothing is growing yet. But as I said, it's only been a week. I'm not giving up on them. The plastic blew off of a few of those, but we'll see if they come up. So big success, 1 week success with the skyflower. Awesome success with the Texas sage so far. That's 2.5 weeks for the sage. And still waiting to see some life out of the beautyberry, but really pleased with the results so far 1 week out. Okay, next thing we're going to be doing is the Albutilon seeds and the coneflower seeds. Now, I don't expect to be planting these out until fall, and these will go inside under grow lights. I just have these, really not expensive, folks. Get them off of Amazon, 12-cell planters. They go inside of a reservoir, which will have water in there. And then it has a dome lid until the seeds start coming up, and then you can remove the dome. Just basically creates a greenhouse for it. So, Albutilon and coneflower. For this, I'm going to use mostly seed starter soil. And I'm just putting it in this other pile because I'm not going to waste it. So whatever does not go into these 12-cell containers will end up being used for other things that I plant. Now you'll notice I'm doing this dry. I don't know why. It's just a preference I have. It's a little easier to handle the soil this way. And then when I put water in the reservoirs and then float the 12 cells in, it just sucks up the soil. I don't know why. It's a preference. My sister prefers to pre-moisten this. It's just easier for me to put it all in there together. Anyway, okay. And you don't want to pack this down at all. You want those seeds to be able to grow roots very well, but you do want to make sure that they're completely filled. I'm going to start with the Albutilon, and it's Aura Flowering Maple. Stupidly, when I pulled these seed pods off, I did not label which color plant I took it off of. And these are kind of interesting. If you just break them open, literally the seeds just fall right out. try to get it in the light so you can see. Here, let me do this one first. Okay. So you just break, well, you can see, just squeezing that other one, break it open, turn it upside down, and literally look at all the seeds that come out. I'm going to try to get one seed pod from the top of the envelope and maybe one seed pod from the bottom, hoping that, I believe I pulled the seeds off of one plant and then I went back and I pulled the seeds off of another one. So just to maybe be a chance to get two different colors of this plant, because God, they are pretty. Okay. All right. And I think I'm just going to put 1 or 2 seeds in each of the 12 cells. And these are not as terribly tiny as some of the other seeds I've dealt with. These I can kind of feel how many I'm putting out in each section. Oh, wait. Okay, let me go back for a few more. Actually, there's probably some on the bottom. See what we've got. There we go. And folks, literally, look at all these seeds. I mean, they shake out. These are easy. I'm just going to spread some of the rest here. And I can always thin them out. All right, so that's the Albutilon. I believe I'm saying that correctly. God, I hope so. And then this one, and I'll put tags in here so I can remember. This one is coneflower. Actually, they're just coming right off. Just harvested a few of the blooms that had already turned to seed. Now these I won't put as many out in each cell. Try to break it up a little. And these could take a while, folks. My aunt sent us purple coneflower seeds from Maine. I mean, again, we're Central Texas. And I threw those seeds in the fall and honestly gave up on seeing them come up. I am putting just a few in each, folks, just because I'm too lazy to break these completely apart. Anyway, gave up on them, planted other things, you know, in the same gardens. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing purple coneflowers coming up. And it's July, and I started seeing them grow just in June. And I'm telling you, folks, I threw those in like November. This year has definitely taught me, don't just discount things out of hand. They still may come up. I mean, it doesn't stop me from planting other things out, but I'm a little more careful when I plant out. I fill the reservoirs up about 50%, just water. And when it starts, and when these little seedlings start popping up, then when I do add water to the reservoir, I also mix in a seed quick starting solution into the water. Not at this stage, just after it's already started coming up. All right, so then you simply float them in the water. You see they literally float until the soil absorbs the water. And then once it's absorbed, we'll put the domes on top. Now the domes open up, you know, so you can get some air through. But when you're first starting the seeds, you do not need that. You close them up. You're creating a greenhouse. Still soaking up water. All right. So we'll let this sit for a second, and then we'll put the domes on and they'll go inside. These are ready to go. Got to do a better job of rinsing these off after I use these over and over and over and over again. And I do rinse them off. It's just I clearly need to do a little bit of a better job. All right, so these are going to go into the house under the grow lights, domes on, and the vents closed. I need to look up what the germination rate is on these. I like to just keep track of how long they've been in here, just to keep track of that. Anyway, quick update on the Albutilon, 1 week out. Look at that, 1 week. I have a bunch of the little seedlings are coming up. Several have germinated, and these others, they're just tiny green specks at the moment. But I did remove the dome off of this one. My usual standard for removing the humidity dome is when half have germinated. And clearly we have 5 or 6 that have, and there are a few that have germinated in here. So time to remove that. Over here is 1 week purple. Oh, look, even more. All right, let me see if I can show you. I'll tilt this a little. Lots of little green specks here. They are germinating. Oh, more than half. I mean, definitely have little plants started there. So I will remove the humidity dome. That's the coneflower. And again, folks, this is 1 week later. Side note, this was an experiment I started, oh goodness, a few videos ago. I got this let pot system, which is kind of like an arrow garden. And I started moss rose seeds in the soil and in the let pot. All but one germinated on the soil, all but one germinated in the let pot. Let pot seems to be a little more further developed, but not enough to be, oh my gosh, what a difference. So far, this experiment seems to be equal results. Today it's dry enough to plant the crocosmia bulbs. I have way too many, but I'm going to plant a few right here in front of and between the red yucca and the whirling butterfly. This Vitex, all of these are going to be big plants. I do understand. The Vitex, when it grows taller, I'm going to limb up because I'd like that to grow into more of a tree. So the 3 under here, they can crowd each other and grow forward all they want. This corner, I want to end up being a relatively low maintenance area. So the crocosmia, my sister told me to make sure I put the bulbs pretty deep in the ground. Otherwise, they get very floppy. So I'm going to use the auger. All of the Houston seeds, cuttings, everything, bulbs have been planted, started, ready to go. I'm thrilled. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, like, or share. It really helps me to grow my channel. Have a wonderful day.